Well, we did Ghostbusters, the first one. It was, it was challenging in so many ways, and yet just a lot of fun in other ways. Shooting a big movie in New York was really great. And then it took us 5 years before we got the second movie happening. And then after that, it looked like the whole thing was over. It was going to be no more Ghostbusters. I wasn't sure if Bill Murray would even agree to do it, because Bill, the movies he's done, he's never really done a sequel to them. So the idea of getting him back again to do another movie seemed like impossible. And I'd kind of given up on the whole Ghostbuster thing after the second movie. And then I was kind of surprised that after about 10 years, I would run into people wearing the Ghostbuster jumpsuit, and sometimes I'd see these weird cars that they would turn into an ectomobile, and people were making their backpacks. I'm like, wow, it's been like 10 years and they're still liking the movie. And then 15 years later, people were playing the song, and 20 years later, people were still loving the movie. And that was really kind of unusual. And I realized that it wasn't so much the studio, but it was the fans who loved the movie who just kept it alive. The studio was kind of like behind. There weren't a lot of, the merchandise, but fans began to make up their own backpacks and they began to put stuff together. So when we finally got another film up, and that was the one, Paul Feig's movie with the ladies playing Ghostbusters, that was a surprise, but it really was a little bit different because they tried to reboot it, and it was we weren't Ghostbusters in the movie. But when we got to Afterlife, it was really, I didn't believe it was really happening until I almost got on the set. It's like, oh, they really going to do this. And when I walked on the set and we had a scene in our jumpsuits, and I saw Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, who I hadn't seen in a while, it was kind of emotional. I mean, it was just really great to see how old they had gotten. And, it was just great to see them in their jumpsuits, and to see Annie Potts and Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, it was. It always touches my heart to see them not only still around and but still active. Sigourney's, doing that whole series of movies. I can't think of the name of now, but the Avatar and all that. And Annie had a series of Little Shelton or Young Shelton. I've never seen it, but I know she's working. So everybody's still vital and still